before we go ahead to make the gathers, I realized that the 4 inches we added here, we are supposed to add it not on the puff part of the sleeve. We are supposed to add it on the basic sleeve, okay? So it puffs and goes up. So now I'm going to reduce 3 inches. I'm reducing 3 inches from the hem, okay? So I want to make a mark to the part of my fabric that is front and back. So this is my right side of the fabric and this is the back piece. So I will just practically reduce 3 inches from the hem. So I have my basic sleeve reduced accordingly. So the 4 inches we added, I'm taking it off. So I'm taking 3 inches out because of a seam allowance. So instead of adding the upper one for the puff sleeve, the 4 inches for the puff sleeve, just add 6 inches below. So I've reduced my sleeve right now. So instead of having 24 inches I have on my length, I now have 21 inches because I've taken away 3 inches. So I'll make a notch at the midpoint for the puff sleeve. I'll also make a notch for the upper point. So I'm going to gather right now up and down. So I'll set this one aside and I'll come back to my puff sleeves to correct the error. So I'm going to cut my puff sleeve again. I'll just come in with my fabric and place this on top. So I'll now give the 4 or 3 inches, so it goes up, the sleeve goes up for us. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, let me just place it like this. So this is my basic sleeve, so I drop it right here. Then I'm going to measure, come up. Okay, so on your basic sleeve before you cut, that is the basic sleeve on the sleeve drafting, just come up by, let me say 3 inches. Let's do 3, okay, or 3.5 because of our seam allowance. So I'm doing 3.5. So I place my basic sleeve 3.5, and I'm going to connect everything. You can see how we did it when we're doing it on the puff, but this time I'll just bring it to the upper part like this. So you can see I've increased my basic sleeve. So this is what I'm going to do now. I added more to the basic sleeve. So I'll also cut it at the same hem, and then I'll go by the sides. I'm going to cut by the sides as well. Okay, so remember that the basic sleeve has the parts that is inside, that is front and back. So I'll just come in right now and I'm going to place, in fact this is what I will do now. Okay, let me use my pattern ruler to do that. So this is where we have the midpoint. I'll just come down by 0.5. Okay, so if I come down by 0.5, I'm going to pretend this is the sleeve head just to give that curvy effect, and I'll place it this way. Okay, so the front sleeve is not supposed to be the same with the back sleeve. That is just what I did here. So I'll open up my sleeve and I'll just come in by that 0.5 and return back. So if you fold it back, you notice that the front sleeve is now shorter. Okay, so I'll just make a notch to show that this is my front sleeve. So you can see that the basic sleeve we have here is longer. So I'm going to make a notch now. I'm making a notch right now. So once I make a notch, that will be my center sleeve. So I'm going to use this basic sleeve. I'm still going to use it to match up what I have. Okay, I'm using it as a guide. Okay, so if you are doing yours, this should be your paper. So I'm going to run my gathers right now. I'm running my gathers right here on this basic sleeve, and I'll bring it to make sure it matches up on the normal basic sleeve. So I will do that now, only the upper part, okay, to have that puffy before we place a puff sleeve. So this is the part I told you, the part I just raised up, so you can see I gathered it. So as I raised it up, it helped me to have a puff right here. So this is my basic sleeve. I'll just use this to match up, to know exactly the size of the sleeve before I sew. So I'm matching it center to center, and I'll just take my basic sleeve around. Okay, so you can see it's matching up on this side, and from here it's matching up. I'll keep matching, okay, and I see it matches up. So I can now take off my pin and take off the basic sleeve. So I've also gathered my puff sleeve. This is the puff sleeve which I gathered now, both the upper and the lower part. So I'm going to find the notch, that is the midpoint, and match it up with the midpoint of my sleeve. So I'm going to turn this sleeve this way because I want the right side to be on the lining part, since this part is going to be inside. So I just turn it to the wrong side. So I'm going to kiss it right now, getting the midpoint and finding the midpoint. So you have to make your notch. That is very important, because when you notch, it helps you find your midpoint. So I'm just trying to find out my points. Okay, I've seen my notch. So I'll bring in notch to notch, and I'm going to sew on top right now. So I'll go to my machine now. I'm going to sew both the gathers I have right here with the gathers I have right here. Okay, so I'll just carefully sew it now, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. I will sew both the up. I'll also sew what I have on the down, the gathers on the hem, and I'll bring back to show you what